What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 122. Yes, we are at episode 122. Hopefully, everybody had a beautiful day today. It is February 3rd, 2026, year of our Lord. And it is Tuesday, y'all. It's Tuesday, the second day of the week. But like always, we got a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to go over. Why? Because the world is a crazy place and we got to review the world together. Let me get the lights right. And we got to review the world together. I know y'all seen it. We got a lot of crazy things to talk about. We got Jill Biden's ex-husband going through some crazy stuff. And then we got some people who are getting sentenced to life for some of the crimes that they've done. Some of the crazy crimes they've done. But we'll go over that. But housekeeping, like always, remember, if you ever disagree with anything I say, please leave a comment. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. I'm not going to say I know everything. So if you feel like I misunderstood the video or I'm missing something, let's talk about it. I'll tell you how I feel. You tell me how you feel. That's how the world needs to go. Remember, y'all, if you want to keep seeing videos like this, if you want to keep tuning in, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos. Remember, we are here Monday through Friday, starting at 6 o'clock. Now, it might run over, but we'll always start between 6 and 7. But you know how I like to do it. Let's jump right into it. Let's have a, how Future say it?
Sensational.
Let's have a sensational show today. But the first topic we got to get into is, of course, we got to talk about the First Lady. But it's not really about the First Lady, but the First Lady's ex-husband or former First Lady. I got to say former First Lady's ex-husband. So Jill Biden's ex-husband has been charged with murder. Yes, murder of his current wife. It's a crazy thing, but we got a few videos to look into, and of course we'll do the AI breakdown after that. So let's go over into it and see what we can make of this whole situation. Oh, it's a crazy one. Let's jump into it.
Jill Biden's ex-husband has shockingly been arrested and charged with the murder of his wife, according to a report. Bill Stevenson, who was previously married to the former First Lady, has been hit with first-degree murder charges for allegedly killing his current spouse, Linda Stevenson, at their home in late December 2025, Fox 29 reported. Cops responded to a domestic dispute call made by Bill on December 28th and found Linda unresponsive on the floor. She was declared dead at the scene, but the cause hasn't been released yet. The 77-year-old husband is being held on $500,000 bail. His arrest came after a weeks-long investigation. Jill married a 23-year-old Stevenson while she was a student at the University of Delaware at the age of 18. Stevenson went on to establish a college bar called the Stone Balloon near the University of Delaware. According to its website, the likes of Bruce Springsteen, Dave Matthews, and the Allman Brothers Band played for crowds at the venue for decades. Jill and Bill were only married for 5 years and divorced in May of 1975, shortly after Jill had met then-Delaware Senator Joe Biden in March of that same year.
Stevenson has accused Jill of having an affair with the one-term Democratic president prior to their divorce. However, Joe and Jill claimed they first met after they were set up on a date in 1975 after Joe became a widower and Jill was already separated from Stevenson.
Jill and Joe Biden married 2 years later in June of 1977.
Now, let's get into a little bit more details about this whole thing.
Well, the ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden has been arrested for allegedly murdering his wife. Investigators believe William Stevenson killed his wife Linda after a call to police about a domestic dispute in December. Officers responding to the call found her on the living room floor where she was pronounced dead at the scene. NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach joins us now. Gary, Stevenson was taken into custody just yesterday. He is now in jail after failing to post the $500,000 cash bail. What else are we learning? Why did it take authorities so long to make this arrest?
That's one of the big questions we don't actually really have answered yet. Linda Stevenson was found dead on December 28th, and just yesterday, William Stevenson, her husband, was indicted by a Newcastle County grand jury on first-degree murder. Now, the way indictments work in local criminal court in Delaware, it's a one-page indictment. All it says is that he has been indicted of that charge. There's no further detail on exactly how the grand jury came to that conclusion. As you say, he does remain behind bars because he was unable to pay a $500,000 bail to get out.
Gary, what more can you tell us about Stevenson's relationship with the former president and first lady? How long were they married? When did they divorce?
Yeah, so Jill Tracy at the time was married to Bill Stevenson for 5 years. They got married in February of 1970 and divorced officially in 1975. And it was during that time where Jill Biden was a student at the University of Delaware. William Stevenson was the owner of this place called the Stone Balloon Club, which is one of the biggest, at the time, one of the biggest music clubs in the country near a college campus. The likes of Bruce Springsteen, the Allman Brothers, Dave Matthews Band all performed there. Jill Biden, when they got divorced, did try to maintain her half share in that ballroom, but was denied. It's unclear what their relationship has been in the past 45 years or so since they got divorced.
Now let's see one more video, see if they tell us anything different, but it's all the same stuff.
The ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden has been charged with killing his wife.
Former First Lady Jill Biden's ex-husband has been charged with murder.
64-year-old Linda Stevenson, seen here in this exclusive Inside Edition video, was found dead in her living room on December 28th in Delaware. But after a month-long investigation, police say they found evidence of foul play, and Stevenson has now been charged with first-degree murder. Police won't say how his wife was killed. We spoke to Stevenson in 2020 when Joe Biden was running for president against Donald Trump. Back then, Stevenson made the blockbuster allegation that the Bidens were not telling the truth when they said they met on a blind date in 1975. He claims they met 3 years earlier while Joe's first wife, Nelia, was alive.
I introduced Joe to Jill in '72. Jill, Joe, Nelia, and I were in his kitchen. How do you forget that?
At the time, Jill Biden's spokesperson told us these claims are fictitious. The relationship of Joe and Jill Biden is well documented. They gushed to me about their relationship.
She was sitting across the bar with a common friend, and I said, "Is that Linda?" And he said, "Yes." And from that day on, we've never been apart.
Wow. Quite a romantic, this guy,
Yeah.
seems like, right?
Yes.
He was persistent.
Yes, very.
William Stevenson's bail has been set at $500,000 cash. So far, the Bidens have not commented on the arrest.
Of course they're not. Of course they're not going to comment on it. But let's go over into the AI breakdown to see if it tells us anything differently. But overall, this is a crazy case. So Jill Biden, ex-husband William Bill Stevenson, a 77-year-old businessman, former college football player, recently reports indicate that he was arrested on February 2nd and charged with first-degree murder in the death of his current wife, Linda Stevenson. So let's see. He was married so we already know they was married in 1970, separated in 1974, divorced in 1975. We know about the Stone Ballroom, so the 2026 murder. So following a domestic dispute call on December 28th, 2025, police found his wife, Linda, unresponsive in their home. Stevenson was indicted by a grand jury yesterday and is currently held on $500,000 cash bail at the Howard R. Young Correctional Institute. So in recent years, Stevenson has publicly alleged, so we already know about that affair. We don't know much about it. We don't know the cause of death, but just the fact that the former First Lady's ex-husband has been arrested on murder charges of his own wife. I would like to know, they was only married for 5 years and it was younger, 1970. So he could have changed him a lot, but I would like to know, was he abusive to her in any kind of way? But the question is, will she tell the truth? Will the former First Lady tell the truth? Because the question is, do you believe that they truly met that year that they said they was, or did he really meet 3 years before and they ended up having an affair? That's something nobody will want to come out, especially someone's running for the president, running to be the president. It's a wild situation. Hopefully we get more information about it, but we got Jill Biden's ex-husband. That must be crazy. That's how most people are going to refer to him, as Jill Biden's ex-husband. But we'll have to wait to see exactly what the details, what was the cause of death for her current wife. I'm assuming some kind of push and fall, something like that. But we don't know. There could be a lot of scenarios, but somebody called about domestic violence. Somebody called about domestic violence or a domestic dispute. So we'll just have to wait and see. Absolutely crazy situation. But let me know your thoughts on that whole thing. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. And obviously the Bidens aren't going to say, they might make a little comment, but they're going to try to stay away from this. But we'll see. We'll see. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. And let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But we're going to pivot over into the next topic we're going to be discussing today, and it's a doozy. It's a crazy situation. We got parents sentenced to life. Now, this happened a few years ago. They were just recently sentenced to life for decapitating their two young teen children. So we got a video that we're going to look at, and then the most recent video. And then, of course, we'll get into the AI breakdown to see what we can find out about this whole crazy situation or what else we can learn. But let's jump over into it and see what we can find out about this crazy thing. Decapitating their two younger children. Let's get into it.
New developments this morning on the deaths of two children who were stabbed and decapitated allegedly by their father in Lancaster last year. Now the mother is also under arrest as well. The LA County Sheriff's Department says 44-year-old Natalie Brothwell was arrested at her Tucson, Arizona home on Tuesday. She will be extradited to face murder and child endangerment charges. The father, 35-year-old Maurice Taylor Sr., was arrested in December for killing his two oldest children, then showing their decapitated bodies to his two youngest children, who were forced to stay in their bedrooms for days without food.
This is a gruesome story.
Well, okay, that is all. So you said that the husband killed the two older children and then showed the pictures of their bodies to the younger ones and made them sleep in there. Yeah, that's a demon right there. That's a demon. But let's get over into this most recent one that came out that says they're sentenced to life.
Two Lancaster parents have been sentenced to life in prison for the brutal murders of their children.
And those details are disturbing. Investigators say they decapitated their kids and then forced their younger kids to look at their bodies. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth is live in Lancaster with all the details, plus how a family friend is reacting to all of this. Leo.
Well, I'm shaking my head because just hearing you talk about what happened here, the level of evil surrounding this particular story, in my humble opinion, would even make Satan shiver. And the judge, when she handed down the sentence in an Antelope Valley courtroom here this morning, she was visibly outraged. As for the family friend, folks, there aren't any words. There are no words. You have no words to wrap your arms around this level of horror.
I don't think anyone does. How? How do you put into words that two children were beheaded?
40-year-old Maurice Taylor Sr. and 44-year-old Natalie Brothwell, both convicted of the unspeakable, horrendous murders of their 12-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter at a home in the 45,000 block of Century Circle in Lancaster in 2020.
Let's back it up to look at the children just a little bit, because you got to be one sick. Y'all, the couple has to be sick. There's something that truly demons. You decapitate your two children, 12 and 13, and then show the pictures to your younger children? What possesses a monster to do that? I've said this before, there are monsters who walk among us. And doing this to their own children. Oh, sorry about that. I got it on mute.
In the 45,000 block of Century Circle, 12-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter at a home in the 45,000 block of Century Circle in Lancaster in 2020. The parents also convicted of child endangerment, forcing their 8 and 9-year-old sons to view the mangled bodies of their deceased siblings. As the judge handed down the sentence to both parents, life behind bars, no parole, she basically told them what they did was absolutely despicable.
This stays with all of us. This is never going to wash off. I don't care how long you two have been doing this. This will never wash off.
Ellen seen her in a picture with her friend Natalie, saying she can't fathom why Natalie was complicit in her own children's vicious murders. She adds Natalie and the children's father had a violent relationship for years, and she begged her friend to leave, but she refused.
She was doing what we were raised to believe. You stand by your man, you have a family, and you raise your children.
Ellen reading a letter she wrote to her friend Natalie on camera.
Natalie, I forgive you. I forgive you for believing in a system that should have protected you. I forgive you for believing in a religion that told you to stay.
And the judge in the courtroom allowed the mother to say a few words in court before handing down her sentence. And the mother basically looked at the judge in tears and said, "I miss my children. I love my children." The judge did not flinch and handed down the harshest penalty she could under the law.
Yes, I'm a 100% agreement. Now, should she have left? Yes, if he's abusive, I don't care what your religion says. I don't care what the law. If someone is abusing you in your relationship, leave. If someone is abusing your kids, leave. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But once you stay and you are complicit into this, complicit in your 2 children getting murdered and your other 2 children traumatized beyond, traumatized, you got to be held responsible just like him. Just like him. This is a crazy situation, but let's get over into the AI breakdown to see if we can learn any more about this horrible, horrible situation. But let's get into it. So, as we know, on February 2nd, a California couple was sentenced to consecutive life terms in prison without the possibility of parole for a 2020 stabbing and decapitation of their 2 children. So we got the Maurice Taylor Sr. and Natalie were each sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms plus an additional 6 years, making sure they die in prison. So the couple's eldest children, 13-year-old Malachi and 12-year-old Maurice Jr., Micaiah, I might be saying the names wrong, I'm sorry, were killed inside their Lancaster home on November 29th, 2020. Prosecutors stated that the parents forced their 2 younger sons, 8 and 9 at the time, to view their siblings' remains and remain confined in their rooms without food for several days. So some people should not be parents. It's a tragic. The bodies were discovered 5 days later by firefighters responding to a reported gas leak. So in November 2025, a jury found both parents guilty of first-degree murder and child abuse. The judge, Lisa, a great judge, described these acts as monstrous and noted a complete lack of remorse from the defendants. Currently status, so a 10-year protective order was issued to ensure the safety of the 2 surviving children. Wow. These are some sick individuals, and there are some crazy people in this world. Wow. I wonder, this is a terrible thing, but I am happy with the sentencing. Life without the possibility of parole. This is the message you need to send to scumbags like this. Scumbags like this who do something so horrendous to their own children and then traumatize more. This is crazy. Let's see why. Let's see. The mother come. Who killed? Yeah, who killed the kids? Who killed the kids? I'm assuming it's the father. That's what they said. The children were killed by their parents, so they just say that both parents were convicted and sentenced to the crime. So defense claims. So during the trial, so this is the mother's defense, argued that she was innocent and that she had tried to save the children, while the mother blamed Taylor entirely. However, the judge rejected these claims, citing a complete lack of evidence for remorse or accountability from either parent. Absolutely crazy situation. Yeah, you cannot let them see their children. The 8 and 9 children at the time, yeah, there's no way that they should have been. They can see them again. But if they want to go visit them in prison, I'm gonna ask them questions. That's fine, but they gonna need some therapy. They're gonna need some therapy. But let me know your thoughts on this whole situation, y'all. Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. The world is a crazy place, and some people do not look after their kids. Some people don't care if their kids live or die. It can be a horrible world sometimes. But like I said, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to pivot over into the next topic we're going to be discussing today. And that is, we got to go over into more people getting sentenced. So we got a mother who has been a woman who has been sentenced for orchestrating the murder of 2 Kansas mothers. The world, sometimes I feel like the world is rotten. But let's get over into this video and see what we can make of it. The first one we're going to look at happened, this is a video from a year ago, and then we're going to get into the most recent sentencing video. So let's get into it, see what we can make of this whole thing. What makes you orchestrate the death of 2 mothers? Let's get into it.
Elsewhere tonight, a Texas County District Judge is refusing to seal new details into the gruesome murders of 2 Kansas women.
The bodies of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly were found last month. 5 people charged in connection to their deaths. News 4's John Hayes joins us now in studio with the latest. John.
Kevin and Jolene, the new details come from search warrants filed last week. Before we get to what they are, we do want to warn folks at home, some of them are disturbing.
Search warrants filed May 15th shed light on what could have led up to the kidnapping and murders of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. The 2 women last seen Easter weekend, headed from Kansas to Oklahoma to visit Butler's children. 5 suspects, including the grandmother of Butler's kids, Tiffany Adams, are facing charges for their deaths.
This case did not end the way we had hoped.
In one warrant, state investigators say Butler and Kelly's bodies were found inside of a chest freezer during a 2-day excavation of a burial site nearly 9 miles away from Butler's abandoned car. The cause of death was not detailed.
How can you hate somebody so much that you want to kill them? How can you hate the mother of your grandchildren so much that you want to end her life?
Warrants also detail suspicious items seized as evidence at the burial site, like duct tape, a sheath, a black knife, ball caps, and cloth gloves with possible blood on all of them. Documents also state that the latest suspect charged for the murders, Paul Grice, went to a witness's house after the arrest of the 4 other suspects. While there, documents say Grice asked how long DNA would last on clothing in the dirt in a 15 feet deep hole, if DNA would survive in churned dirt, and if the source knew how to get a guy and his family to Mexico.
They deserve to rot and burn in the depths of hell for all I care.
And the next phase of this case will be collecting and reviewing physical evidence with no firm trial dates ironed out just yet. We'll update you as we learn more.
Okay, this is a crazy situation. Let's go over into this next video where they talk about the woman who was sentenced for orchestrating all of this. So let's get into it.
It was Easter weekend in 2024 when this all started, and over a year and 9 months later, Tiffany Adams, officially sentenced for orchestrating the deaths of Kansas moms Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Adams will spend life behind bars without the possibility of parole after Butler and Kelly were found dead in Texas County, Oklahoma, in the Panhandle in April of 2024. In a statement to KOCO5, the family of Veronica Butler said, quote, "As a family, we are absolutely pleased with today's outcome." Adams pleaded no contest to the murders in October last year, and because of that, she did not face the death penalty. During the last 2 years, KOCO has followed the case and learned lots of context. Tiffany Adams was the paternal grandmother of Butler's children, and according to court records, she was worried she would lose custody of those kids. Butler and Kelly were traveling together from Hugoton, Kansas to pick up Butler's children when they went missing in Texas County, Oklahoma. Adams organized an effort to kill Veronica with the help of the other suspects and took Jillian's life just because she was traveling with Veronica and was appointed by the courts to supervise the exchange of the kids. Adams is one of 4 other suspects charged in the murders of Butler and Kelly. Paul Grice, Cora Twombly, Tad Cullum, and Cole Twombly are still going through court proceedings. However, Paul Grice and Cora Twombly both testified for the state in the case, and both agreed to plea deals. Adams' boyfriend, Tad Cullum, recently tried to dismiss the charges against him, but was unsuccessful. His jury trial is set for October this year. Cole Twombly's jury trial is scheduled for February of 2027. In OKC, Jason Berger, KOCO 5 News.
Meanwhile, this is a crazy world, y'all. This is a crazy world. Let's go to the AI breakdown so we can try to understand everything that's happening. So let's get into it. So as we know, on February 2nd, 2026, Tiffany, 56, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for orchestrating a 2024 murder of 2 Kansas women, 2 Kansas mothers. So let's see. Adams, the parental grandmother of Butler's children, led a plot to ambush and kill the women during a scheduled custody exchange on Easter weekend of 2024. So a judge in Texas County, Oklahoma, handed down the following sentences to be served concurrently: 2 life terms without parole for first-degree murder, 2 5-year terms for unlawful removal of a dead body, and 2 7-year terms for unlawful desecration of a human corpse. So the murder were a accumulation of an ongoing custody battle, and Adams reportedly feared of losing custody of her grandchildren to Butler. Butler and Kelly disappeared on March 30th, 2024 while driving to pick up the children. Their bodies were discovered 2 weeks later, buried in a chest freezer on a rural Oklahoma property. Adams and her accomplices were linked to a fringe anti-government religious group known as God's Misfits. What is happening? Evidence shows that Adams purchased stun guns and burner phones to coordinate the ambush. Adams entered a no contest plea in October 2025, which removed the death penalty as a sentencing option. So she knew she was going down for the rest of her life. So we know that both of these, so Cora and Paul, both of them entered a plea agreement and provided testimony against Adams. They are expected to be sentenced to later this year with the agreement that could lead to parole eligibility in 30 years. And then we got Ted, who was his trial is scheduled to begin in October 16th. And Cole, his trial is scheduled to begin in February 2027. Why does it take so long? Jesus. But all of this over, what did they say? Custody. Over that she didn't want to lose custody of her grandchildren to Butler. Now here's a question. Was it for love or was it for money? Think about it, y'all, because you know if you got the custody of the kids, you got some money coming in most likely. I'm assuming the only reason that's my thinking. The only reason that she ended up killing them or she didn't want to lose custody is because the government was sending her some kind of money for the children, for taking care of the children. Either the government or child support. Something like that is what drove her to be like, oh yeah, let's end them. And she orchestrated the whole thing. The grandmother. Oh my God. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. The world is a crazy place. The world is a crazy place, but I've said this before. That is why we need to review the world together. That is why we got to review the world together. Absolutely crazy. But let me know your thoughts on that whole situation. And let me know if you disagree with anything I said. But we're going to pivot over into the last topic today. We'll most likely end a little bit early today because we go over 4 topics now. We got to go. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but Amazon, some stuff has been happening at Amazon now. We got some child sex abuse material in the AI training data. Someone needs to go to jail. That's all I can say. But let's get over into this video and see what we can find out. And then, of course, we'll do the AI breakdown just to give us a little bit more details about this whole crazy situation. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Meanwhile, tech companies are racing to get huge amounts of data to train their AI models. New Bloomberg reports Amazon found hundreds of thousands of cases of suspected child sex abuse material in its training data. Now, Amazon removed the content before training its models, but would not provide the sources to authorities. So I'm going to bring in Riley Griffin, a Bloomberg tech reporter who broke this incredible story.
All right, here, first question. Why would they not provide the source? Because that'll lead directly to who put in the child sex abuse material stuff. Are they trying to protect the higher ups? Because we know them higher ups. I mean, just look at everything in the Epstein file. Them higher up people in them higher positions are some freaky people, be some nasty people who need to go to jail for the rest of their life.
Riley, let's start with how these companies train AI. I mean, where are they getting that training data from?
It's a great question. Amid the AI race, companies large and small need massive amounts of data to improve those models. Mm-hmm. They can scrape it from the internet, they can license that data, purchase it from another company. In this case, all we know is that Amazon got the data from an external source. But it's really core to the question of what's in the data that is feeding these models.
So let's specifically talk about what happened here at Amazon. Your report on Amazon found that suspected child sex abuse material in its training data and then reported it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That group called Amazon an outlier. Why do they call it an outlier?
Yeah, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is a clearinghouse fielding tips from industry to law enforcement, called Amazon an outlier because it did not share that data about where it had gotten this material. It flagged it, which is appropriate and a company legally must do, but it didn't provide information about IP addresses or what was in the content or where it had ultimately gotten this material. So that was a key point. The other thing here is the sheer scale. Hundreds of thousands of cases of suspected child sexual abuse material has not been seen at other companies. We spoke to Meta, OpenAI, Google, all the players, and they have seen a couple at the margin, but nothing in the tens of thousands, let alone hundreds of thousands when it comes to AI training data.
So incredibly disturbing to hear that. What happens now with all that illegal content and what's being done to prevent this from happening again?
But what's the purpose of it though? Why would someone want, I'm trying to figure out why would they want the AI training data to include child sex abuse material? Is it for some, explain to me, tell me y'all, what do y'all think? Why include it in there? Why did someone want to have that in there? Or was it just an accident that was included in the data that they sent?
As for Amazon's remediation activities, all I can tell you is they say they are committed to fighting CSAM, but we don't know actually what's happening with this specific material beyond the fact that it was removed before training. The broader industry, though, the request from child safety experts is to make sure that your data is clean to begin with. Don't go to the darkest corners of the internet to get that material. And when you obtain data, make sure you're scrubbing it before it's ingested in those models.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point because we recently saw how Elon Musk's AI Grok was allowing people to generate AI-generated sexualized images of girls and women. You spoke with plenty of child safety experts. Do they feel like social media companies are doing enough to prevent this from happening, or are they just reacting if something is found?
A lot of them are concerned that this is a box-checking exercise, that they are reacting because the primary goal, they say, is just having these models be the best of the best, and that means getting a lot of data. But this is really concerning because if you have this kind of data in your models, it could make it so they can replicate that material or continue to distribute something that has already traumatized children out there, and a case where many are still in active danger.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. So with that data, they can either create some child sex abuse material, distribute it to other people, create just AI versions of it, thinking it's all okay and all hunky-dory. Yeah. Someone has to be investigated because they call them an outlier, or Amazon an outlier, because they refuse to give up who sent it, which says a lot about the company itself. But let's get over into the AI breakdown because there's not many news reports about it. So let's go over into the AI breakdown to see if we can find anything else or tell us anything else about this whole horrible situation. But let's get into it. So as we know, in January 2026, an investigation revealed Amazon discovered and reported a staggering volume, so hundreds of thousands of child sex abuse material, CSAM, that's the acronym, within the AI training data set. So Amazon reportedly a vast majority of the more than 1 million AI-related reports submitted to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in 2025. The company stated that the material was found from an external source, web data collected to improve the artificial intelligence models. But for some reason, they didn't screen the data, or the higher-ups didn't care to screen the data. You got to think about that. So pre-training removal. So Amazon maintains that the illegal content was detected and removed before the AI models were actually trained. Question is, how do we really know that? How do we really know? So an industry outlier, while other tech giants like Google, OpenAI also reported from CSAM, child sex abuse material found in training data, Amazon's volume was described by the by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children as an outlier, because of just the size of it and the fact that they're not providing who it came from. So the lack of actionable data. So the MCMEC officials criticized Amazon for providing minimal details about the origin of the source of the material. Unlike its peers, Amazon reporters often lack the specific location or source data necessary for law enforcement to track perpetrators. Whoa, hold on. That's a crazy. So look at this. Unlike its peers, Amazon reports often. So this is not just more than one thing. So it often lacks the specific locations or source data necessary for law enforcement to track perpetrators. So does that mean that it's like protecting their source? So scanning methodology. So Amazon attributes the high volume of reports to its over-inclusive scanning rules, which are designed to be cautious but can result in high number of false positives. So experts have raised questions about the reckless data collection practices in the AI industry, where the race to amass massive data often outpaces safety analysis. Amazon has pledged to share more comprehensive data regarding these findings in March of 2026. So that gives them time to prepare. That makes it sound like to me. But another question, why are they protecting their sources? You know, AI needs a lot of data, a lot of information to learn and know how to act and know how to respond to the questions and the prompts and the different things that humans ask it to create. And if there's a lot of child sex abuse material in there, that means a pedophile or someone just on that same level could use it to do some nasty things. But I guess Amazon might be thinking it's all money in their pocket and then it's an absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. It's a crazy situation. But this is the type of stuff that we need to review, and this is the type of stuff that we need to talk about. Why are they hiding their sources? Why won't they be honest about where they came from? Why such a large volume? The world can be a nasty place. But we have to review it together. That is the way we move forward and protect ourselves and the people we love. But like always, let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But that is it for the show today, y'all. A little shorter than usual, but you know we always here. We go over 4 topics to where some of the stuff I found that we just need to talk about. And we talked about a lot of crazy things. Parents decapitating children, women, grandmothers setting up the mothers of their... It just goes to show that the world is a crazy place, and we have to review the world together. Y'all know that's my saying. We got to review the world together. But like always, let me know your thoughts and let me know if you disagree with anything I said in the video. But I like to say this always. I'm thankful for whoever watches, and I'm thankful for if you watch later. Thank you for showing support. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you can be up to date on all the information. And always remember, drink your water, y'all. Drink your water. But you already know these videos will be broken down so you can go back and watch the one you want to. And look out for your kids, y'all. Look out for your kids. Look out for your family. Because if you don't, who will? But that's it for now, y'all. I already know I will be back here tomorrow. Yeah. Peace.